everyone doing today? Anyways, this is a little bit of a different article talking about preserving riparian rights, how wetland extend landward helps Florida waterfront owners protect property value. So exactly what is this talking about? This is talking about waterfront property. Florida is a peninsula surrounded by water on three sides. We have a lot of coastal, a lot of canals, a lot of intracoastal waterways, and there are certain species of plants that are protected by the Environmental Protection Agency, and of course Army Corps of Engineers get involved. And if you own waterfront property, this could hinder a lot of things with value and cause issues with depreciation, as this article talks about this. Okay, so they mention waterfront communities, properties with navigable water access command a premium, adding an estimate of 20 to 30% in value compared to similar properties without it. Okay, for homeowners, the access translate not only into lifestyle benefits, but also into tangible equity gains. So you want to have positive equity, you don't want to have negative equity. And of course, usually waterfront property goes up a lot faster than other properties. It's more desirable, there's less of it available. So this article talks about what is going on. So they talk about a few things here. They talk about mangroves, long valued for their role in coastal protection, are expanding inland and northward, building new land where there was once open water. As they advance, they constrict navigable access, reduce water depth, and limit the use of waterways by boaters and property owners. Over time, but slowly, steady, the process means that a property's appreciation lags behind others, with clear access eroding wealth for landowners who may not even realize the financial impact until it's too late. So this can happen, that this is slowly taking place, that these mangroves will take over, hinder the process of navigable waterway. And the whole purpose of having waterfront property is for boaters, for fishing, for a store of value. Again, there's not much waterfront property. But so how do you deal with this situation? If you have this protected species, examples like mangroves that are taking over these waterways, what do you do? Well, there is a thing called mitigation bank credits, and you can see this is from AI. The mitigation bank credits are units of environmental value, such as acres of wetlands or function in a stream generated by a mitigation bank. So, okay, so in a nutshell, you're not paying a mitigation bank. It's not a bank. You're paying for the rights to take down these mangroves. For example, you bought a piece of waterfront property on a canal, you're going to build a house, and you're looking at it, and there's all these mangroves in the front, and you want to put up a dock. But because there's mangroves, you can't put up the dock because mangroves are protected. So you're going to have to pay what is called mitigation bank credits. You're paying for the right to take out these plants, to cut them down, and to put up your dock. Now, you get a permit to do this, but to do this, you're going to be paying tens of thousands of dollars. It just depends. It's a lot of money. Now, that money is then allocated towards other projects and other parts of the environment. So the money, it's a positive thing. The money is used towards protecting, replenishing other wetlands, which is so important. It is kind of controversial because you're tearing down wetlands to protect your property and value, but then you're going to be using that money, or that money is going to be used towards other parts of wetlands in Florida. So, this man here, Goldsby, who is the founder of Wetland Extent Landward, he talks about this. And he talks about a couple things here, and he says, in the case, landowners fear the depreciation of their property. Mangroves build land, and when you build land, you lose navigable access. That means your property value doesn't appreciate as fast as it should. And there is some truth to that, okay? And then he talks about here, consider an example. This is an example of a $5 million Florida waterfront estate. If navigable access is impaired, the property risks losing up to 30% in value. I don't know how they came up with the risk losing up to 30% in value, but that's a potential $1.5 million hit. That lost equity doesn't just affect the homeowner, it also impacts the comparable market analysis, county revenues, since property taxes are tied to assessed value. So you're paying so much in taxes because of the assessed value. Assessed value goes down, your property taxes go down, which is good, but then those property taxes, that revenue that the county is trying to get, they're going to get less of it because of the assessed value has gone down because of what's going on with environment and these mangroves. So it's all tied together. So anyways, he talks over here and he says, however, the rights are under pressure, and trend referred to as the erosion of riparian rights, stricter regulations, and expanding mangroves are combining to limit what landowners can do with their waterfront property or with their waterfront, jeopardizing both their legal rights and their equity. And equity, again, is a whole point. You want positive equity, you want to make money and appreciation, you don't want the property to be depreciated. Now, he just talks about in this article, does mention that, it's important that our job is to help owners protect that right ethically and scientifically, which is important because there are ethics involved. You can't just go ahead and tear down these plants. They're protected. They're tied in with other species of fish that lay their eggs around mangroves, and it helps protect the actual land from eroding. So this is so important. So this article kind of goes with this whole balance between mitigation bank credits, the environment, and buying these properties, and is it really worth it? So when you're buying waterfront property, look into this. This is so important about wetlands and how it's protected and how it can be modified if needed because of the situation, what's going on with these waterways and with the surrounding land and mangroves that could cause or hinder the process if you're going to build a dock and use your waterfront property the correct way. Anyways, thanks so much. Give a thumbs up. They're free. Real estate is not free. Thanks for listening and have a great day.